Alright, it's time to return to a game I kind of already played. Super Mario World on the Game Boy Advance. Very, very, very similar to the original, yet there are a few differences. It is a different game, released on a different platform, has a different name. Colors are extremely bright on my screen, at least. It's not showing up that much the same way on OBS. And definitely worse controlling, not because this version controls any differently from... I don't know why I grabbed that dragon coin. I do not need them. It doesn't control any differently from original Super Mario World. It's just on original Super Mario World, I was able to use an SNES controller, which is great for 2D platformers. But since I'm playing this through Game Boy Player, I have to use a GameCube controller. And the GameCube controller is not a good controller for 2D games. Also, I didn't realize there was like heavy motion blur or whatever on this version. I don't know if that's a Game Boy Player thing or if that's just some way about how the game ran. Runs on Game Boy Advance, but you just don't notice it because it's a super small screen. I don't know. But it's kind of annoying, but not too bad. But yeah, GameCube controller's not ideal for playing 2D games, but it's also not the worst. I'd probably take a GameCube controller over, say, an Xbox controller, just because the GameCube at least has the notches in the controller, so it's a lot easier to hold straight left or straight up compared to if it had completely rounded edges on the control stick. It would be much harder to hold a single direction, and since most 2D games are going to either use 4 directions or 8 directions, you want to be able to hold a steady direction. But it's not that bad, really. I thought it was going to be way worse and make the game just feel absolutely horrible to control. But it doesn't feel that bad. If you're wondering why I'm even using the control stick and not the D-pad, well, that's because it is the GameCube controller D-pad, and the GameCube controller just does not have a good D-pad. Not only does it not... I mean, it's not, like, super terrible in terms of how it's designed. It's not like the Xbox controllers where it's, like, this weird bumpy thing, so you can barely hold the right direction you want. It's not really like that. Like, it can be kind of easy to hold whatever direction you want to hold or press. The problem with it is it's just uncomfortable. It does not feel good. And with it being, like, down where it is and how, like, thin and small it is, and how, like, I don't know, almost maybe too squishy it feels. It just doesn't feel good, and I genuinely think it's being way easier to play with the control stick than the D-pad. Though it's not like I'm necessarily too bad with playing 2D games. I did not mean to get rid of Yoshi there. I just meant to be off of him so I can get a feather. Oh well. Okay. I was really trying to fly there. But it's not like I'm super, like, not used to it. Because back in the day, I used to speedrun Crash Bandicoot: The Huge Adventure on the Game Boy Advance. And I actually used to play it on emulator with an Xbox 360 controller. Not even a first-party 360 controller. It was a third-party 360 controller. And yeah, that was not easy to play that game with. Or any 2D game with a 360 controller. So the GameCube controller is actually kind of nice comparatively. If I had to pick a controller where I had to play with stick, because the D-pad doesn't work well, GameCube controller is probably actually the best for it. I mean, I'm having an easier time using it in this game than I was using the Xbox controller in Dig Dug Arrangement. Is this not the pipe you go into? Is it this one? I kind of probably wanted to have a feather here, didn't I? Or a Yoshi or something. Although I think you can just hit that? Yeah. I guess they give you that shell to either hit this, but they also made it blue so you can... If you had Yoshi, you could just fly up there. That's pretty neat. Pretty cool design. Okay, that's the wrong way. If you think I would have remembered that, I literally played this game 3 days ago. It was day 1 when I played the original. Dude, yump! Yes! I don't think I've ever yumped before. I don't know the difference between a yump in this version and the original. I don't know if they made it easier in this version or not. So that's pretty cool. And I technically didn't need to even play that level. Had I just played better with the flying, I could have flown right where the key is without having to use the Green Switch Palace, but it doesn't really matter. Again, this isn't a kind of challenge where I'm worried about frames in a minute or two, you know? It's not really going to be super relevant, at least not until the final day when I am desperately trying to see if I can do one final game. But that's a very long time from now, when I would even have to worry about that. I don't know that I even want the fire flower. I don't think I need to go in that pipe. And it's just all... Oh, that's also a fire flower. Okay. And this is what I need. I'm really glad, though, that the GameCube controller does seem like it is going to work out. Well, I believed. Dude, that really sucks, though, too. I mean, at least I got a checkpoint, but still. if you can not be here, that would be great. Like, any of these fish could not be here. Okay. But there are a lot of Game Boy Advance games to do, and a lot of them are. I mean, it's obviously the Game Boy Advance. It's about the. I mean, obviously they remade a ton of SNES games, so it's going to be about that quality of game. I mean, I think technically the Game Boy Advance could do better than the SNES in a lot of ways.
What I needed.
Do you have to hit the P-switch first? Yeah, with it being, like, similar to, like, SNES games, obviously a lot of the games are going to be 2D. So being able to use a controller that's not just absolutely terrible to play 2D games with is definitely really, really good. Because there are still... It's not just more Mario games, but there are also the other Mario games. Mario 3 is just use 2 warp whistles. Mario 2 is just go into the correct pipes. Although I need to remember the route for Mario 2, because I know there's like... In Mario 2, there's like multiple routes you can go, because there's different warps in different worlds. I think the one in World 1... Okay. In World 1, I think you warp to World 4. And then I think there's a warp in World 4 that leads you to World 6. But I don't ever go that warp because I hate World 6. That really stupid level where you're jumping across the birds, I hate that level. I only ever barely make it through there. Oh, that doesn't give you the cloud. I need to come here with either Yoshi or a cape. Okay. I only ever barely make it through that stupid bird level. So I never want to go to World 6. But that's actually fine, because what you can do is, instead of taking that warp to World 6 in World 4, if you just get to... Wait, how do you exit a level in this game? Does save and quit exit the level? No, it exits to the title. Can you not exit levels in this game like you could in original Mario World? I guess that's not that long to quit out, though. But I think it's just in 5.1. Maybe it's 5.2 in Mario. Nope. Wrong way. Maybe it's a 5.2 in Mario 2. There's another warp that sends you to World 7. So instead of going World 1, 4, 6, 7, I would rather go 1, 4, 5, 7. Because World 5 is just way easier than World 6. And you have to do World 7 either way. Dude, I can spin jump. I think spin jump gives me enough height, and then I don't have to come at it from a weird angle. Although, to be fair, what makes this level way harder in this version, especially for... if you didn't know about the secret exit, it's legitimately the screen crunch. Because it's way easier to see where that secret path up there is in the SNES version. But I guess I'll go back and get another cape then. I do think, though, Mario World is probably the... Whoops. It is the wrong file. Great. It's more time lost. There might be a way just to exit the level, but I don't know how to do that in this version. But Mario World's probably the one that I know the route the best to. I know how to do Mario 3's route pretty easily. Like, I know how to do the route, right? You just... you know, you get both the warp whistles, you use both the warp whistles. And you get to the end of... and then you get to World 8. The problem with Mario 3 is I'm not super confident in my ability to beat those ending levels. Not that I feel like I can't do it, because I can. It's just I'm not quite as familiar with those ending levels. And the thing is you have to beat pretty much all of World 8. Whereas in this game, you only have to beat Bowser in the final world. There is no other... oh, right. We just need a shell. Shoot, dude. That's like the last thing I wanted to happen. Because now I think the only way I can actually get over there is if... yeah, there's no way you're getting down there without a cape. Dang it. That sucks so much. I might just get 2 capes just in case. Because at least I have a little extra damage I can take. Compared to the original SNES version, because you get more hits in this game. But yeah, I know in this game you just beat Bowser, so there's not that much you have to do in World 8. And then... so in Mario 3, you have to do all of World 8. And there's a couple tricky levels in World 8. I don't think it's too bad. I don't remember really struggling on it that much. It is just I'm less familiar with it than in this game. And the Mario 2 is just not really remembering the route, but I'm pretty sure I would at least know. Since I already know I wouldn't be doing World 4, I'll know exactly what level. I know exactly which level has the warp in it in World 5. Like, I know which level that is. I'll immediately recognize the setup. So when it does happen, when I do get there, I don't have to, like, remember exactly where it is. Not what I wanted to do. Oh well. Is there another Koopa guy over here? So it's not like I'm going to be like guessing or having to remember how to do it or anything. It'll be pretty easy. So it's nothing really too much to worry about. It's just I do have the most confidence in Mario World, and I have the least confidence in Mario 1. I legitimately don't know if I can beat Mario 1. Do I risk trying to go 5, or should I just go 8 like I was? I'll risk 5. Because I don't know how to do it in original Super Mario World. Because it kills you instantly when it hits you, so I don't know how you're meant to get through that whole section. But in this game, it only deals 1 damage, and you still get your invincibility frames, which makes that definitely the fastest room, and probably the safest, because you're pretty much only gonna take 1 hit, whereas you could take more in any of the other rooms. And that makes a bit more sense to me. I knew that was the room I usually went into, but I didn't know why it wasn't working in Super Mario World. That's because I'm way more familiar with this game than I am with this version of the game than I am the original, because I grew up with the Game Boy Advance and I had this game. So this is the version I played way more than the SNES version. I mean, you could see from the menu, I've 100%ed this game, whereas I don't think I've ever 100%ed the original SNES version. If I can keep this guy, that does make Phase 3 a bit easier. Maybe actually not really. Kind of the same. Definitely want this. Okay, well that actually didn't do anything. Oh really? He threw those out instantly. Does he not do the bowling balls on Phase 3? Is it just the stomping? Oh, I guess he doesn't. I thought he did both. He did the stomping and would still occasionally do the bowling balls. Did that take me longer than original Super Mario World? I don't remember how long the original took me. It was around the same time, though, still less than 30 minutes, but more than 20 minutes. kind of feel like I did the original quicker, but maybe not. Because it took me longer, I think a little longer to Star Road, but then in this version I didn't. Bowser's Castle was one try. I didn't have to try multiple times like I did in the original. And I did go the wrong way in the ghost house at first. So this probably did end up being shorter. But still, that's, I mean, two Mario games that are pretty much kind of the same game. Less than 30 minutes each, so less than an hour for two games is pretty darn good. And there still are plenty of other 2D Mario games to go.